highlight a few, just a few, with limited time, just for you to understand how this matter has affected us as farmers. First of all, Chair, this bill, I'll call it in a different way for you to understand how hurt the farmers are. It's a political bullet bill for lands and deeds registry. Let me give you very good examples. And if this bill is passed, there are a lot of consequences to it. Let me just give you a very few details to summarize what is in the document as examples so that you understand how these were raised up. The issue of interested parties is not defined. And when you look at it, you immediately say that the interested parties will come in as headmen, as chiefs in the local areas. There will be a lot of more interested parties, squatters who will be interested parties. Let me give you an example so that you understand how these interested parties are going to come in the near future. When the late Vice President Christon Tembo was in Mazabuka at one point, he raised an issue. He said these farms were gotten from Zambians and you displace them, and therefore we are going to come back to them at a later stage. Now, can you imagine the registrar now is with the power, and because of the political will, somebody is going to come and say, we are the interested parties. Those farms will be gone, and then once they are gone, it means the farmers who borrowed money are going to, the banks are going to lose out. This is just one example that I feel I can give. And those who are in Chikankata, in those far-flying areas, they've got the history. And this is what the registrar will be looking at head-on at one point. I'll give you another example. When you go to Mwembeshi, if you call the MP for Chilanga, there's an 800-hectare farm there which was taken over by PF cadres, and they started subdividing and selling it. It's on the Mumba Road, just after the satellite. And when UPND won, the cadres went there, and then when they went there, they chased the UPND cadres, and they've taken over. And once they've taken over, now they are building houses. Those will be interested parties which the registrar will be faced on. Now, because it will be politically motivated, the farmer there will lose because he's been chased there several times. Let's look at what happened to the Republican President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, how he suffered on land issues. And I want you honorable members who are here today to imagine one single moment that had this bill been like that 5-7 years ago, he could have been homeless. He could have lost all those farms because the registrar was going to be used politically and he was going to cancel all his title deeds. Whether he gets land from his cousin and they say, oh, can I squat here? They are still going to follow him and grab that land. We've got to be very mindful about it. He won all those cases based on the current law which is there. And it made us very happy as farmers when he won the cases, because we knew that there was confidence into the system that we are safe. But currently, if this law is passed, it means all of us farmers will never sit properly on the chair. Each farmer will have to sit at the edge because you don't know who is this interested party, when he will come and what they are going to do. The Minister of Lands, if they've run out of ideas, which they've created themselves, the union is ready to help them because we've got a lands committee. We can sit them down to help sort out the mess which they've put them there. I can tell you
I would suggest that you withdraw the word messy. We don't allow such words here. Oh, so yeah, maybe you can replace it with a better word. You withdraw and replace it with a better word.
I withdraw it. But the current situation which is there, we are ready to help them. We've got a lands committee. We participated in the past with the land policy, using the land committee very well, and it worked very well for us. The problem that we are going to face head on is this same bill which you are proposing. It is going to be used politically at some point. And all of you seated here, honorable members, it will affect you in years to come. And you regret to say, why did we do it? I want you to imagine 1 minute. There's no young MP here. All of you are quite at some stage. If there's a... it's not here. Well, there's a young MP. Can you imagine now he's got a piece of land? Even you, chair yourself, I'll address you. You've got a piece of land, a farm. 100 hectares, you've built a small house, and you are doing a bit of activity. Your children, all of them, are below age of 15. Now, God forbid, I don't mean it should happen, God takes you away. Those children will take, maybe they are 15 years, by the time they get to 20 years, for them to work, to do whatever, dad left as a farm. Me, I've got the money, I'm rich, all our that farm, go to registrar and say, I'm interested party, that farm has been vacant for a long time. And I'll use all political means to try and get that farm. And your children will have nothing. So these are the issues that are practical on the ground. If Minister of Lands has got issues with council, with the and whatnot, they shouldn't use this. There's better ways of trying to resolve the issues. Everything is there on the table. We've got better ideas of how we can help them over a cup of tea. Those of you who remember, that same ministry, the late President Mwanawasa shut it down at one point, trying to solve the same problem. But did he say, let us set a bill for us to make sure that the registrar takes charge? Let us not plan things in this manner as if we are the last generation. We have to relook at the way we do things. The complaints which we've picked up where people are saying cases at court take too long. When the president was sworn in, he found cases of corruption and other crimes, economical crimes. They were there. And he unlocked it by setting up the Economic Crimes Court. What is wrong with us trying to help the judiciary by bringing in the Lands Commission by constitution, put it by the district, whether you put in judges, whatever it is set up, then all these land issues are out. And remember, these commissions are set in such a way that there will be 1, 2, 3, 4 people. But a single civil servant to be the whole entire country, give responsibility to that, is a junior. And I can imagine that if he has got a political pressure coming from somewhere, then we are creating, or we will be creating, the most corrupt person in Zambia, because he's dealing with all cases, and at one point he will be weak and he would want to do something about it. So we are, even though you are a very honest guy, but money, money is sweet, and they will allow it to make him corrupt deliberately. So do we want to legalize corruption in that place? Whether you put people around it, I don't think that is the way it should happen. We are of the opinion that when the matter is to be dealt with, especially in a constitutional manner, we have a way to say how it issued. She should have been addressing issues in the in SI of saying, right, if you obtain fake documents from the council, you go in for 25 years. If you forge a document from the chief, you go in for 25 years. If you have presented documents, you as a buyer and also the seller, you go in for 25. You've got to try and make it very difficult for anybody, because there is a jail sentence which is around there. Even the person who signs that document must go in for 25 years. Tell me of anybody who has been found, other than cancelling, you just cancel, but he has done fraudulent things. Who has ever been arrested and because he did that? Nothing. It's business as usual. They cancel it. They themselves at the ministry have allowed for a long time that issue which happens at those of you who know ministry very well, there's a tree there which they say Chimtengo. That's where it starts from. So there are many things, because of time limitations, we can suggest, we can propose, we can try to work out without giving powers to one person. But with 10 minutes, such a bill, It's very difficult, Chair. We need to come and sit down as a sector. And remember, the union is a broad institution. We are in 88 districts. We've got the corporate. So from Friday to now, if I hadn't issued a statement, we shouldn't have been here. So now you can imagine over the weekend, what time do we do the consultations to bring a meaningful document to you? And we have even written to the minister herself that would like to meet her so that we present these issues properly before her, and they call in whether I call it Indaba or whatever it is, we consult properly so that at the end of the day it's a win-win situation. I thank you. My colleague here will add a bit. 10 minutes, sir. May you allow us a bit of another extra, because you're having tea there and you didn't invite us, and then we thought another 5 minutes or so.
President of Zambia National Farmers Union, I think it is unfair for you to start talking about tea issues. So I will allow the other gentleman just 5 minutes presentation.
Thank you, Chair. With your indulgence, I'll quickly look at the memorandum which we shared, and obviously just give context to the issues which were coming in. Chair, I think just to ride on what the ZNFU President has just alluded to, of course, when it was brought to light in terms of the contents of the bill, there are some potential implications that the farmers have been raising, and these we shared with you in some terms. Of course, the repository is very detailed, but we are getting some indications of concerns that the farming community have. And ideally, in practice, Honorable, these particular concerns are deflated when there is a consultation process that happens, because of course there is that discussion that happens, and at this level you would not be receiving such implications. The first, of course, is issues to do with the security of title, which undermines, of course, property rights, discourages agricultural investments, and could also lead to the abuse of authority, like alluded to. Chair, this is evident because the bill has not made any effort to even just strengthen the office of the chief registrar. It has gone directly to allocate powers, but there are no safeguards. The bill is not speaking to safeguards. So that raises concerns from the farming community. Issues to do with the risk of land grabbing. This, Chair, exposes farmers to unjustified dispossession. It's a concern that is coming in. And of course it creates legal uncertainty. The issue, for instance, interested parties. In the current provision, a definition is not even provided for an interested party. Of course, that brings it to speculation, because the content has been speaking to the interests that the ministry was pushing. In terms of consultations and transparency, and this is at the core of this bill, Chair, there are perceived exclusion of key stakeholders, especially the farming community, and this reduces the public trust in the process. If key stakeholders, they are not part of this particular process, that particular buy-in. Just to mention, give context to this, Chair, in other legislation, usually there is what we've been invited to participate in a layman's bill drafting process. So there are those internal consultations that happen at that grassroots level before this honorable committee can consider a well-polished and refined position. For this particular bill, we are not subjected to that. We are not privy to a layman's bill that is speaking to this particular amendment. Hence, these implications we are sharing with you. Then also concerns, Chair, of legal recourse erosion. Currently, like the ZNFU President had alluded to and given some examples, there are processes that address issues to do with fraudulent and erroneously issued titles, and there is confidence in that process because, of course, the outcomes are known. But in this bill, that particular process seems to be removed, and it has been pushed at the tail end. That, of course, is of much concern, and it will be good through a consultation to speak to this so that it brings comfort to would-be affected persons. Then, of course, another issue is on communication failures, Chair. There's an issue, for instance, Zambia is vast. Farmers may miss notices or deadlines due to poor communication channels. And of course, this is, Chair, speaking to the processes that have been proposed in the bill. They are vague, they are not clear, so it will be good to get the actual context so that it is understood. If it means 40 days for you to put in an application, if it means 13 days, what is the process that is happening? How are those dates being arrived at? At this stage, the bill does not speak to such in details. Then, Chair, another risk is economic and investment impacts. Chair, there are fears that this may result into reduced confidence by domestic and foreign investors. Of course, risk to the banking sector stability. The majority of these titles are used to access finance as collateral. So in a way, Chair, we are not even exposed to the regulatory impact assessment for this particular bill. What is the impact of this bill on those particular statements? It's silent. We are not privy to that. And usually through a consultation process, Chair, there's usually an RIA that is produced, and it can be interrogated. Then quickly, Chair, I also just move to the others, speaking to digital vulnerabilities. Of course, this is speaking to the increased risk of error or abuse in digital-only environment without safeguards. Are there any safeguards that the bill is speaking to in this space? There's a lot of interaction now in the digital space. What comfort is coming from that particular area? The bill is silent there. Then, of course, just tied to the communication aspect, area of notification procedures, and Chair, I alluded that the proposed timelines they seem more arbitrary, hence the emphasis here on consultation, so that there is interrogation of these proposals that are being made. Then, Chair, as I conclude, there's also the cross-sectoral risk aspect. Chair, legislative risks extend beyond farming into other national economic sectors, and this I briefly touched on, especially on access to finance. Chair, the ministry is aware on how many titles are tied as collateral with the banks. That exposure can come from the ministry. Hence, it is important that this is subjected to broad-based consultations so that everyone has a buy-in and everyone seems to be trading on a level playing field. That can only come in from detailed consultations. And then lastly, Chair, is the legislative process clarity. In terms of the way the bill has been phrased, Chair, it is unclear in terms of the legislative status, which has created anxiety. You can see from the memorandum that we shared with the members here, the messages that are coming in, the calls that are coming in from the farming community. The process just seems to be rushed. There hasn't been a lot of consultation to give comfort to the people who would be affected by this particular. And probably, Chair, just in conclusion, in light of the far-reaching consequences of this amendment and the fact that farmers were not part of the consultation process, Chair, the farmers' appeal is for immediate withdrawal of this bill to facilitate the consultative process to be initiated. Chair, the union will engage its members through our structures and provide consensus views to ensure that any reforms to the land registry system security, promote fairness and support development objectives. I thank you, Chair.
And Chair, I don't think I've much to add. The issues of our structure as a union have been touched, where we can go to the inputs of our members or the committees which we have. And so what we are presenting, or what we have presented before you, is a preliminary which has come from a few members who happen to have come across this bill. But once the bill is withdrawn, we'll have an opportunity to go full blast to make sure that every member is informed of what is happening and they put input into the bill. Secondly, I think one of the vexing issues is the issue of the registrar before cancelling. What are they going to rely on to be sure that there is fraud that was committed, or that I should cancel this title? I think right now it is very confusing in the minds of everyone, because prior to all this there was comfort that at least there will be a court process and I will be given an opportunity to present my evidence there. Until we exhaust that process, that's when eventually this happens. But right now there is a total confusion in that, there's a risk which has actually come in that, everyone now sees it that, this will happen instant. Now, if it happens instant and then I prove after, and I think we have heard a lot of what can happen, why I'm trying to prove, because we know the processes of in the court what happens. So I will not try to repeat what has already been said, but just to make a plea through this committee and through you, Chair, that if the bill could be referred back, it will give an opportunity to the farming community, which is a cross-section of farmers from small scale, emergent to large scale, to have an input into this. Thank you so much, Chair.
I just wanted clarity, because you have used the word referred back, meaning it should be deferred, because at the same time you talk about withdraw. So I just needed that clarity.
Chair, what I mean is withdrawn.
Okay, thank you very much. Honourable members, we are free now to interact with the Zambia National Farmers Union. I'll start with Honourable Simbao, then Honourable Mtachalo will come in. We'll take 3 questions at a time.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. President, I got you very well and very clearly when you were explaining. I want just a clarification from you. Is there anything that this bill is trying to change in terms of, is it stopping people from going to the courts of law? Is this bill going to prevent people from going to court? I ask like this because in my constituency in Rwansha, I have a lot of people complaining about this issue. Got no money to courts of law. So if the people of Rwansha are given maybe an opportunity that they can appeal to someone, and if it fails, then they go to court. So what I'm saying is this bill trying to remove or stop people from going to court? The second one is you talked of this officer to be a very junior officer. Supposing this officer was to be upgraded maybe to a judge equivalent to those at a high court, would you still have the same complaint you are saying this authority is being given to someone very junior? Thank you, Chair.
What about Shadow?
Thank you, Chair. I think part of my question has been addressed by Honorable Simbao, but what I would do state that when stakeholders such as yourselves appear before a committee, it gives us an opportunity for us to make an informed decision because the Parliament enacts laws. So we want to ensure that laws which we enact here should be able to stand the test of time. Just in line with Honorable Simbao, I wanted your views because certain stakeholders who have appeared before the committee feels that the current provision that it disadvantages marginalized people in society. So those who have the financial means, those who have the influence in society, usually take advantage of the marginalized people in society, especially maybe those in rural areas. Since it marginalizes those people in those places like in rural areas, they feel that maybe if there is that sentiment to give a leeway for them to engage the chief registrar and also the minister, it is less costly, unlike going to court, because of course the legal fees are quite very, very expensive. So I wanted you just to reconcile on the two positions I submit.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. President, I want to find out where you've indicated that the chief titles. Chief Registrar, I want to believe, is a state position. Don't we have any state positions where certificates are cancelled? For societies, we've heard, I think we've read in the press some time back that certain certificates for political parties were cancelled. What would be the difference between this state position at Registrar of Societies and the state position at Minister of Lands? Secondly, the ordinary people, there's a witness who came in, they are saying, what they are trying to, maybe what this bill is trying to cure is to improve the inefficiency and effectiveness in terms of the backlog which the ministry have. And secondly, is to give access to the ordinary people who do not have resources time there's a challenge to go to courts. Thank you.
Zambia National Farmers Union, you can answer those 4 questions.
Let me start from the rear, then going up if I'm allowed. Now, the poor, if you are looking at the poor, how are they going to be protected using this same method? Because the minister and the registrar it's the most dangerous thing where we are going to go now. Because those poor people, if they cannot travel, I'll be able to corrupt the judge. I'll be able to corrupt the minister. So whether the poor person comes, he will have still more, he will not go anywhere. And that's why we are saying those people who crafted in the law of saying, let us have the land commission. That is where everybody will be closer to the district. They will be able to move there every day without a problem and so forth. But even the poor people, just to travel to come and see the registrar in Osaka, to come and see the minister in Osaka, it will be a tall order. So to us, that's why we said, let's sit down. If we will be very willing to sit down and say, let us make sure that this land commission, which is per constitution, is set up. And if we find to say the land tribunals also, the problem with the land tribunal, by the way, is lack of funding. And if that tribunal is funded and the judge is there, it could have been working. But for now, let us look at what is in the constitution. It will be more expensive for the poor people because they will still have no resources to come and bribe the judge and the minister. That is a danger. So how do we look after them? We've got to go in the district to look at how can they be attended to at the district level. That's why if you look at the courts, there's a high court, there's it starts from local court, local in the rural areas until you go up. That was the reason why they wanted to make sure that the justice system takes care of the poor. They don't have to travel to Lusaka High Court. So I don't totally agree on that one. There's a better way we can save our people by looking at this land commission. Secondly, if the chief justice, the chief registrar, there's a judge there. Let me say something here, honorable members. Land issues are very sensitive issues worldwide. Yesterday, I think we were all watching where Cambodia and I think the other one, Thailand, they are fighting over a small piece of land. This is how, whether you appoint, as long as the powers are based on one person, he's at risk even he himself. Can you imagine, Honorable Chair, I find you to say you are the one who made me lose land and the registrar cancelled it. I'll be hunting you like a rat or something like that until I find you that you caused me a problem. So this thing, if it's not handled properly, we'll be killing one another. Right now, if my boundary ends here and Mr. Lungu's boundary is there, Mr. Chembe is there, just for me if I'm plowing, I just make it, when you're plowing with animals, you can't turn easily. Sometimes you've got to go the other way to make a turn. But I've entered in somebody's land. People have killed one another over that. So this issue of saying one person, and they even identify you, and you are not protected by the law, is a problem. So really, I think the matter of cancellation of the title, this issue, this weapon at the end of the day, remember, it is going to be a political weapon. No matter whether the idea could be good, but someone else. I've given you the example of how our Republican president could have lost land if this bill was there. These are the issues we have got to face. Let's look at the practicability of it. So that's how I'm looking at, is it right or wrong? The question I know to say, as long as the powers are vested into one person, it's very wrong. The issue regarding Rwansha, I think I've addressed it. If the land commission is there, I don't see a problem. Everybody could walk around. And that's why there's local courts, magistrates courts, all these ones, they are around there. And believe me or not, this can unlock a lot of issues which are at High Court. They can just be unlocked overnight. But to say whether you promote is given a judge, whatever, I don't think is the right way. A commission will be a group of people who will be sworn in or whatever it is to make sure that they do justice to the people. The other issue, I think the rural areas, I think I've attended to. Chief Registrar, right. Is the bill going to stop people going to court? Chair, an interested party is gone and he complains, I'm very vulnerable, and then from there my title is cancelled, I appeal to the minister, is cancelled, then I'm going to court. What do you think will be the implication at the end of the day? We have to kill one another. You make people kill one another. That is where it's going to go, because the title is already cancelled. Whether you are going to court, whatever, it doesn't matter. The fact is the land has been lost. So we have to be very careful of this issue of saying cancelling, doing this and so forth. I think the current justice system now, to me, like I've said, the current problems at the Ministry of Lands are known. And if we are to look at them, we can look at them one by one at the consultation meeting. One, we'll look at, first of all, what you call the Survey General's office. That's where things start from. Then you look at this, you call it estates department, where people hunt for empty land and they connive with all these surveyors and so forth. It's terrible. I'll give you a personal example. There's a gentleman who works here in Parliament here, who brought surveyors to my farm. Lucky enough, I saw people at the end of my farm. I said, who are they? I went, they confiscated their survey things. And then when the surveyor realized that he was trying to survey my farm, which is on title, he apologized. He says, sorry. But I can see how many people can be vulnerable about it. So that's what I was saying, that to tighten up these things, there must be a rule which says 25 years if you have not done this, 25 years. That's what we're talking about. not the issue of registrar giving powers to one individual. How I wish I could be appointed a registrar because I know that I'll be the richest man in Zambia. Thank you.
Mr. Zimba, you have not answered the question for Honorable Member for Luansha. He asked the question to say, is this bill going to stop people from accessing the courts? That's what I'm interested to hear.
Chair, I've answered it. Is this bill going to stop people going to court? I've answered it. But it's the other way around what is going to happen. Instead of me going to court to go and deal with a matter, because that interested party knows now there is a registrar who can sort out my problem and I go and give him money, my title will be cancelled. I hope we are together there. So when you want to go to court to go there, this interested party, because they've given him another room here where he can go to registrar to fix you up, he can be fixed whether you go to court. Because we have now introduced a new thing that you can go and complain at the registrar. Are we together on that one?
I just want to find out from you,
Yeah.
Is the bill going to stop people from accessing the court?
I've answered you. I've answered it very clear that they will still go to court, but because of this issue here you are going to create of cancellation, people will stop going to court because they will say there's a shortcut here. I can get this title deed cancelled. I want to make it very clear on that one. Don't misunderstand me that people will go to, but the problem is the courts now are going to be relevant at the end of the day, because everybody will be rushing to registrar to get yourself sorted out. So nobody, because what is the point of me going to court if I know that my title deed has been cancelled? So these are the issues we've got to be at stake.
If you may translate what you've just said.
A fight.
Okay. Any honorable members, any further points of clarifications? Okay. Maybe the last question I'd want to find out from Zambia National Farmers Union is there are other stakeholders who are saying that probably there should be a multi-sectoral body that should be created or formulated that should look into these matters than having a chief registrar council these titles. So they are saying that this multi-sectoral body should actually be the one to recommend the cancellation of titles. So what is your comment on that one?
And this is what we are talking about, the issue of consultation. When we were going to consult and we are going to look at this thing in depth, where it's going to be something that we can make proposals. One thing, Chair, that makes the title deed now, anybody with a holder of title deeds for you to sleep and say I'm the owner, is because I'm protected by the court. Anything that deviates away from that a little bit, it becomes very dangerous. So whether we have to interrogate from our members to look at this sector board which will look at all these things is something that we need to study. It will have advantages and disadvantages. But the current system now, which is there, provided we go back and put in laws which will make sure that if you do this, you go in. If you do this, you go in. If you do this, you go in. It means that the system now cleans itself. So whether you put a multi-sectoral body there to look at the issues, it takes back to the Land Commission. We've got to be within the law. So we can't create something that is outside the law. So the same Land Commission kicks in. And to us as a union, we want it because it will save the poor person in the rural area. It will save a lot of people running around to sort out the local issues around because they understand them better. But to try and put into another body, I have to do a lot of consultation. But the current one, let me summarize this way, Chair. The current issues at the Ministry of Lands, where the President was talking of hanky-panky is going on there, are all administrative. It's got nothing to do with changing the law or administrative. So now if they're administrative and people are misbehaving, oh, you said not misbehaving, they are not following the laid down procedures or whatever it is, let's put meat to it so that people can be arrested, can be locked up. You have seen a lot of PSCs, directors, after they leave office, they are called back, abuse of authority. Who has been called from the Ministry of Lands for abuse of authority? Very rare. And yet these guys, that's why I was saying, we can advise the minister even with a cup of tea and say, Minister, if you want to solve this problem at ZNFU, we offer you these solutions free of charge. Can we do A, B, C, D? We can resolve it without really breaking our back like this. This law which is going to be there will be used against you yourselves in this room as politicians. This is going to be a political weapon at one point. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Zambia National Farmers Union. Your concluding remarks under 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, first of all, even though we came in at a gunpoint and so forth, but we are grateful. Honorable persons in this room, I want us to think deeply the implication of this bill, how it will affect you personally, your children in the future, and how the rich will get more land because the registrar will be more corrupt. The minister is a political appointee and they can preside over the registrar, and all these will be messing us up. We want to appeal to you. We are not the last generation. I want to repeat that. Let us do something that is going to look after our children in the future. Those who created these laws in the past, they knew what we are doing. I want to appeal to you, find room in your heart, all of you, to ensure that this bill is withdrawn. We go and sit down and talk about it. We make suggestions and ideas. Maybe this bill will not even come back here because all the solutions will be put to the ministry to say this is how we are going to sort out the issue. So our appeal to you is help us withdraw this bill, and I know from your experience and your team here, you are key to the success that this bill is withdrawn. I thank you.
Thank you very much, witness. At the beginning of conferred you with our immunity here, which parliamentarians enjoy. So we've now decided to remove that immunity so that when you leave this place, you're not going to be burdened with our immunity. Thank you for coming. We hope to see you in our future interaction. We're grateful for your submission.
For still watching Parliament TV, the station that is dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you. That was a submission from the Zambia National Farmers Union, a submission made to the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources. The committee is considering the Lands and Deeds Registry Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 13 of 2025. And for this part of the day, that marks the end of business in the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources. But the committee will be back at 14:30 with yet another submission from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. So stay tuned to Parliament TV as we continue bringing Parliament closer to you. Enjoy.